The murder of Dana Lanell Stidham, 1989, Benton County, Arkansas. Welcome back to Murder with Mike's Wife, y'all. Tonight, we are covering one of Arkansas's most haunting cold cases. That's right, y'all. We are talking about the murder of 18-year-old Dana Lanell Stidham. Now, this case has lingered for decades, and we're going to take some time to unpack every detail, every theory, and every impact that we have been able to research.
She had just graduated from Gravette High School in June of '89. She was living with her brother and her cousin in Centerton, Arkansas. She was figuring out her future, like so many teenagers do. And then, in a blink of an eye, she was gone.
Yeah, she was 18. You remember what it was like to be 18 with your whole life ahead of you? You never think about something like this happening.
For sure.
But tonight, we're going to walk through her disappearance. We're going to talk about the discovery of her body, the investigation, of course, the suspects, theories, and most importantly, the impact this case has had for more than 3 decades, y'all. And at the end of all this, Mrs. Shae will share her final thoughts with y'all. So let's talk about the disappearance. July 25th, 1989. Dana was visiting her parents in a nearby town of Bella Vista. Like we said before, she lived with her brothers. She had already moved out of the house for whatever reason. Clearly was still getting along with her parents. Dana's dad would ask her to make a run just 4 miles away to the Phillips Food Center to pick up his medicine. Probably something she'd done for him before. Just a normal day. She was documented as checking out from the food center at 3:17 p.m. that day.
And you have to understand what a small, trusting town Bella Vista was at this time.
Yeah, we're talking Arkansas, y'all. And we're talking small town. Bella Vista is a very financially well-off town for the area. So, you don't think about crime near as much then. Dana's car would be found abandoned the next day, though. Keys in the ignition. To me, y'all, that doesn't sound like someone who's panicking. Honestly, that sounds like somebody who had trust in her community.
Exactly. Psychologically, that detail screams familiarity. She wasn't afraid. Imagine the silence of that roadside.
Yeah.
The car waiting, but no Dana.
That day would go on, and by 9:30 that night, Larry, Dana's brother, would start getting very worried, and he would report her missing.
And on the 26th of July, Karen Myers of the local sheriff's office would find Dana's 1984 Dodge Omni with a flat tire in the southbound lane going away from her parents' house for some reason.
Yeah, why would she be going away from her parents if she was taking the medicine to her dad?
Yeah.
And also, do not forget that receipt with that timestamp of what time we know for sure she left that grocery store was left in the car still, which really helped investigators.
Yeah, and the police did investigate Dana's ex, Danny Mitchell, at first, but it seems he was with his current wife at the time.
I believe it was his
Girlfriend.
I do want to point out that even though we did just mention him, we have found nothing that suggests that he was any kind of suspect beyond just first analysis. We do know that 2 months later, in September 17th, 1989, a hunter out hunting, walking across the same land they do all the time, would walk across Dana's remains in a dried up creek bed off of Bill Lane. But for some reason, this guy did not report it till the next day. And he has said that, and maybe that he knew that there were a lot of old Indian bones and different burial things in that area. And maybe he just got home and it kept thinking about it and was like, maybe I should. I mean, who knows?
The area that the body was found was hard terrain and very isolated, leaving locals very puzzled in this case.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, y'all. Most likely that creek bed was not random. It was chosen. It was isolated. And that tells me someone had knowledge of this area.
And stabbing someone is intimate. Maybe someone she knew?
Yes, I don't know if we pointed it out, but she was found to be stabbed. Like you said, that is intimate. Most people don't want to be that close and personal when they do something like that. The Benton County Sheriff's Office and the Arkansas State Police would head up this investigation. And it would lead them to a suspect early on in Jack Lanell. And he had a history of harassing women. Like, documented history of harassment.
And there were plenty of witness accounts, but led nowhere.
Yeah, Lanell's name keeps resurfacing, though, throughout this investigation, but there would be no conviction for some reason. Why?
Circumstantial evidence? Without DNA or direct witnesses, prosecutors couldn't move forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. In 1989, technology in cases like this was not the same as it is today. Like, we've had such advancements in technology, and that would make this case much harder. Not to mention small town Arkansas.
For sure.
All right, y'all. So there's a few different theories here in this case. An acquaintance. Was it someone she knew? Did someone she know lure her out of her car by offering to help her with her flat tire? Did someone know she was in that store and flatten her tire or whatever to get her in that situation? I mean, it does seem like it could be someone she knows. Our second theory, which I think is less of a theory, but still possible, a random attack. People like that are always looking for their next victim.
Yeah.
And looking for that opportunity. Theory 3. Was there more than one suspect? Was there multiple suspects in this? Did a couple people do this? It seems that one person could do it, but it'd be harder, especially getting them to that isolated area, across that terrain. Our last theory, and this one can happen anywhere, anytime. There are stalkers in this world. There are people that harass women and that are dangerous. And was this the case? Has someone been watching Dana? Very possible.
I do know this. Stabbing requires proximity. That often points to someone emotionally connected to the victim.
Yeah, I mean, and that makes sense. But could it have been just an opportunist? Someone just saw her alone and was like, here's a good opportunity.
Possible. But the body location? That suggests planning to me.
Yeah, but I want to point out to anybody that's never been to Arkansas and doesn't understand the area, especially small towns, in 1989, most people would be outdoorsy people in that area. They would know the area. There's a lot of areas in Arkansas and different rural areas that are great for opportunists.
For sure.
The most saddening part about this whole case, y'all, goes back to the family. Like, the grief that they've had to go through for all these decades. I cannot imagine asking my daughter to run an errand for me and her never coming home. Mm-hmm. Do you put that on yourself? I don't know. As a dad, who knows what you do to yourself after that? Right. In a small town like this, did no one see anything? Why is no one talking? One person who is talking, though, is Dana's mother, Georgia. And she spoke about Dana's dreams, her aspirations in life. And she said to her, the one thing that was stolen from her daughter was her dreams.
Cold cases aren't just unsolved, they're wounds that never heal.
They definitely are. Um, what we do know is that there are no answers in this case after 36 years. 36 years without answers. I can't imagine going through that as a parent or a family member. Most importantly, guys, spotlights matter. The news outlets that have wrote these stories that we use and research to do these content creations that we do about these cases, like that matters more than anything, guys. Uh, Shows like ours that keep a light on these cases, because after 36 years, cases can get real dark.
For sure.
And doing this keeps her name alive.
And memory's part of justice.
Couldn't have said that any better myself. Nice. And that's why I married her, y'all. Cute and smart. All right. I know that Bella Vista has not forgot Dana.
No, communities carry trauma like families do. It lingers.
Yeah. And like we said, Dana's case remains open, y'all. And if you have any information, or you know anyone that you think has information about this case, please contact Arkansas State Police, Company D, as in David, at 479-365-8710.
From a psychological perspective, Dana's case highlights how offenders exploit trust. Her car being left with the keys suggests she wasn't afraid of the person she encountered. That points to someone familiar, possibly someone who had groomed or harassed her before. The lack of closure intensifies trauma for families and communities. Cold cases like Dana's remind us that justice delayed is justice denied. But they also remind us that memory is powerful. Keeping her story alive is part of the fight for justice.
And that's why we tell these stories, y'all, more than anything. For people like Dana, Dana Lanell Stidham, she deserves answers. She deserves for her name and her memories to be kept in the light. I want to take a second to point out all our references for this case. NBC News. No answers 29 years after murder of Arkansas teen Dana Stidham, 2018. Arkansas Department of Public Safety. Cold case listings. Northwest Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Coverage of Dana Stidham investigation and community impact. Thank y'all for your hard work. And other than that, guys, this is Murder with Mike's Wife, and I am Mike.
And I'm Shae.
And we love you all.